Welcome to the San Diego Community College Football Report. I'm Ramon Scott, and I'm joined by Dave Dickens of EastCountySports.com. Dave, the Grossmont College Griffins won their first game of the season, as expected, I might add, as they drubbed Orange Coast, especially in the first half. The Griffins led 38-7 early on, not even midway through the second quarter. Grossmont's running game was in season best form, piling up 254 yards as freshman running back Jarius Burnett out of Warner Robins, Georgia, rushed for 153 yards and 18 carries and 2 touchdowns. Sophomore running back Fabius Shipman III also rushed for 2 scores. The Griffins, Kyler Perot blocked a punt. Colton Joseph picked it up, ran around 5 yards into the end zone for a score. Bryson Collins had an interception off a deflected pass, and Brady App threw a touchdown pass to Harold Dobbin. Bringing the D, get this, Dave, for Grossmont, Darian Williams, Derek Sutherland, and DeMonte Hill all had interceptions.
You know what? I loved that game, and especially in the first half in particular. I mean, I believe it was the first quarter. Grossmont scored 28 points. 28 points, and, going into this game, maybe some of the naysayers, they haven't won a game on the season, and I looked at this one on the schedule and did what we usually do, went over the numbers, almost like what my dad would do, and that's getting the tablet out, the legal pad, the calculator, and I just thought I'd decipher this one. And the 1-6 Orange Coast Pirates, I thought if there's a team that the Griffins are better in every category, it's definitely going to be this one. And let's not forget about the huge play also, the fake punt, where Albertson, I happened to be standing next to next to Jake Siegfried, and he was motioning, and he also said he was mumbling something and kind of
He was tipping you off on the play. What was going to happen?
A steal sign or something. He was right next to me, and he was shaking his head. And next thing you know, Ethan Albertson's like, he was okay. So he took the signal, which was relayed from the coach down to Jake Siegfried, and I kind of, Jake, what's going? He says, you'll see. And I'll tell you what, the next play, that fake was fantastic. I mean, to go along with those interceptions, Grossmont played their best half of football that they have played all season. I'll tell you what, they play like that the rest of the season, and I know there's only 2 games left, but I'll tell you what, they play like that the rest of the season. They're going to definitely get some looks from some scouts out there because they played a great brand of football.
Well, Anthony Sola led the Griffins with 8 tackles, including 5 solo stops and 3 of them for loss. And former Steel Canyon Cougar Kyrie Woods had 1.5 sacks. Dave, you mentioned getting offers. I just want to talk about your buddy, Big King Jay Williams. The list of offers is getting almost a dozen long now, but listen to who took interest in Jay this week. The University of Missouri out of the Southeastern Conference, and Jay is real proud, real proud of that offer. I can tell you that. Nearly a dozen offers right now for Jay. Let me give some of the names: Southeast Missouri, Bethune-Cookman, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Bowling Green, and Grambling. Big J, though, I think that University of Missouri offer stands out.
It does, and he one other one that he tossed in to me the week before, too, is he was having some conversations with the Longhorns as well. So, and he even mentioned that San Diego State is still in the game. So I don't know if he wants to stay local. The way he put it, whoever's going to get me to play and give me the best education and the best play on the field, that's where I'm going.
Well, transformation from wide receiver to offensive lineman. Our buddy Jay Williams looking good, but it's back to reality, Jay. You know, this week, Grossmont, they're going to travel to face Saddleback College at Mission Viejo High School in a National Southern League game Saturday at 6. And boy, what can you say, Dave? This is a tall order. Griffin's coming off the win. I'm hoping they can keep it close. I got Saddleback by at least 3 touchdowns.
Well, I'll tell you what, that quarterback that they have, I saw him play Southwestern. He's very mobile. He actually was gonna join the Jaguars this season, and I guess he met up with a couple of buddies up in Orange County, and they decided he would be a better fit for the Gauchos. And now he is doing quite well. I think he is one of the top quarterbacks in the state. And I will tell you what, Ed Carberry also spoke very highly of this quarterback after his performance against Southwestern, and that he was just very accurate, very quick release, and very good field vision, just a smart quarterback. I think the key to beating Saddleback is going to be having a big pass rush, and that secondary really has to step up against some of those speedy receivers that Saddleback has. I am going to go out on a limb, and I know that my wins over you are very slim now, and we might even be even by now, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to say that Grossmont is going to pull the upset of the year, and they are going to win on the leg of Ethan Albertson by 3.
Now Saddleback undefeated in National Southern League play, so that would be a big upset. The Palomar Comets will play its final home game of the season on Saturday when the Comets host the Cerritos Falcons. The Falcons visit Cougar Stadium in a National Central League game. Cerritos is 2-1 in the league, and Palomar 1-2. Palomar 4-4 overall. Cerritos 5-3. Palomar dropped another terrific ball game, 42-35 at El Camino last Saturday. The Warriors entered the game ranked 10th in the state, but Connor Curry passed for 389 yards and 4 touchdowns for Palomar, while Logan Gamble, the transfer from Cal, caught 2 more touchdowns, giving him 5 on the season. Chris Calhoun has a league-leading 8.3 tackles per game for Palomar, and they'll be trying to contain Cerritos running back Ramondre Stevenson. Stevenson averaging nearly 200 yards a game, 13 touchdowns this season. Cerritos, they were a 36-14 winner over Mount Sac last week. It's going to be another tough game for Palomar this week.
Yeah, and then you remember 2 weeks ago they played San Diego Mesa Olympians, and the Olympians spoke very highly of Cerritos too, but they also, Coach Watkins said a lot of it was self-inflicted. So with that being said, if Palomar can play a near flawless game, they do have a possibility of another team that could pull an upset. And if anybody has been playing some of the top teams close, it definitely is Palomar. We saw how they did against Fullerton. They kept it pretty close. I think it was within 7 or so. I don't know the exact score, but Palomar is one of those teams you just never know if they're going to win that game or not. And with that being said, I think they have just as good a chance, and I'm going to pick Palomar too by a touchdown.
Okay, well, I got to give the reality check. I'll go Cerritos by a touchdown. Mount Sac is going to take on San Diego Mesa. Mount San Antonio's 0-3, Mesa's 0-3. One of these teams are going to get a National Central League win on Saturday at Mesa College. Mesa lost to Fullerton last week, 45-14, as Jake Dunaway had a touchdown pass to Isaiah Williams. Then Tyler Tutt scored to close the gap from 24-0 to 10 points. The Hornets scored most of their points on defense and special teams.
Yeah, I think that one thing that Coach Watkins keeps echoing after each week is it's not for lack of playing their tails off and really going out there and giving it 150%, but they really need to tighten up that defense, tighten up the flags, and play lights out on the offense. I mean, I got to say, for Jake Dunningham coming in, and ever since the Southwestern game, the first game of the season, he has played fantastic. He has been hucking that rock everywhere. He's been making some completing passes that in some traffic situations. He has been able to run out of trouble as well. I think that this one here, I think it's winnable if they play somewhat like they did against in the beginning of the season, maybe like they played against El Camino. I think that they can get this one. It's going to take a lot of practice and watching some film and really capitalizing where need be, but I think it's going to come down to the defensive play and turnovers. And if they win the turnover battle, I think that they can beat Mount Sac by at least 7.
Well, Reggie Prince, he's second in the National Central League with just over 8 tackles per game. And you mentioned Dunninway, 270 yards passing per game, and is second with 19 touchdown passes. Dominic McManus out of Ramona High, third in the league with 66 yards receiving per game. I have Mount Sac rated just a bit higher. Home field makes it close. Mesa by a point. Dave, the Southwestern College Jaguars will host the Golden West Rustlers in a National Southern League game at 6 p.m. on Saturday at DeVore Stadium. Both teams come in 1-2 in the National Southern League, but Southwestern has a 5-3 overall record, while Golden West is 3-5. Dave, Southwestern College held the state co-number 1 Riverside Tigers off the scoreboard for their first 5 possessions last Saturday night, but then the Tigers grabbed the Jags by the tail with 4 touchdowns on 4 straight possessions in the second quarter to take control to win it 36-6 at Wheelock Stadium. The Jags finally got on the board in the third quarter. Freshman Nicholas Bailey out of St. George, Utah, caught a 13-yard touchdown pass from sophomore DeMonte Morris with a minute to go in the third. Freshman Noah Berry had 14 tackles, while former Mount Miguel Matador Duran Miller had 10 tackles. But a tough game last week against Riverside.
Yeah, and anytime anybody goes up there to play Riverside is, and it sounds pretty redundant, but the amount of fresh players that they have on their sidelines at their disposal is just uncanny for most football teams who they have available. I think with Southwestern, I think their issue against Riverside was they do, it's not an excuse, but they do have a couple of injuries at the offensive line, some key injuries there. And I think that that gives a chance to the other players that are stepping in to step in and hopefully play up to par. Because Golden West, we saw them earlier this season against Mesa College in a barn burner, definitely back and forth. This game in particular, I think if they play some of their tricks that Carberry always has up his sleeves, I think that some of those trick plays would be definitely in order to beat the Golden West Rustlers.
Well, Southwestern's DeAndre Daniels is second in the state with 12 touchdowns, and he had 79 yards on 16 carries, but the Jaguars had just 77 yards passing. I want to mention Cameron Kane. He had a team-high 4 receptions for Southwestern. Golden West passed for over 400 yards last week in a 54-38 loss to Saddleback, a game that featured 37 points in the first quarter, but I've got the Jags winning this one by at least 10. All right, well, that's going to do it for us on the San Diego Community College Football Report. For Dave Dickens, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.